The clauses allowing Leonard to do nothing, yet still collect payment. That's the Kawhi Leonard I know. Doing nothing and getting paid for it.
We're diving into hidden contracts, powerful names pulling strings, and an NBA superstar accused of collecting millions without doing a single ounce of work. This isn't just a small scandal, it's a bombshell that could shake the foundation of the league. At the center of it all is Kawhi Leonard, whose alleged $28 million, no-show, endorsement deal is raising questions about whether the Clippers quietly bent salary cap rules. On September 3, 2025, journalist Pablo Torre dropped an investigative report that sent shockwaves across the NBA. He had spent months digging into over 3,000 pages of legal documents and interviewing 7 former employees of Aspiration, the company behind the deal. What they revealed might be the most elaborate salary cap circumvention scheme the league has ever seen. When Torre asked one former employee if they had ever seen Kawhi Leonard promote or endorse Aspiration in any way, the answer was blunt: never. Not once. According to them, the single largest marketing payment Aspiration ever made to an individual, $28 million to Leonard, was tied to absolutely nothing. He never promoted the brand, never posted on social media, never appeared in ads. One whistleblower said plainly, he didn't have to do anything. In other words, Kawhi Leonard secured a $28 million payday for essentially a no-show job. Another employee, with a mix of shock and envy, even admitted, "I'm so jealous. It's amazing." To understand this scandal, we have to start with the company at the center of it all, Aspiration. Marketed as an eco-friendly, green bank, Aspiration pitched itself as a financial institution that would plant trees and help save the planet. On the surface, it sounded noble. But beneath that glossy image, the company was as fake as a $3 bill. At its height, Aspiration raised more than $865 million and was valued at $2.3 billion. Its promise of sustainability and environmental good drew in celebrity endorsers like Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., Drake, and even then Clippers coach Doc Rivers. But behind the curtain, things were falling apart. In March 2025, Aspiration filed for bankruptcy. Then in August 2025, co-founder Joseph Sandberg pleaded guilty to wire fraud, admitting he defrauded investors and lenders out of over $243 million. That's when the company's dirty laundry began spilling out into the open. This is where Kawhi Leonard enters the picture. In April 2022, Leonard, through his company KL2 Aspire LLC, signed a contract with Aspiration. But unlike the other celebrities who actively promoted the brand, Leonard was a ghost. He never did a commercial, never pushed the brand on social media, never made an appearance about trees or saving the environment. The only public connection anyone could find was a single Clippers tweet on his birthday in 2023, where the team said they would plant trees for every retweet. That's it. But the suspicious part wasn't just his absence. The contract itself contained eyebrow-raising clauses. For example, Leonard had the right to decline any action Aspiration asked of him. In other words, he could reject all promotional requests and still get paid millions. The smoking gun, however, was this: the payments were contingent on Leonard remaining a Clippers player. That kind of clause doesn't sound like an endorsement contract, it sounds like a backdoor salary bonus. According to Torres' investigation, multiple former employees said outright that the deal was designed to circumvent the NBA's salary cap. One finance department worker recalled being told specifically not to question the contract because, as they put it, it was to circumvent the salary cap. The audacity of it all was jaw-dropping. And then there's Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. Worth a staggering $173 billion, Ballmer personally invested $50 million into Aspiration. Conveniently, just a few months before Leonard's deal, Aspiration had announced a $300 million sponsorship agreement with the Clippers in September 2021. The timing was suspicious enough to set off alarm bells. Torres' follow-up report on September 5 uncovered yet another piece, a separate $20 million side deal. That brought the total to $48 million, almost perfectly aligning with Ballmer's personal $50 million investment. Coincidence? Highly unlikely. The entire arrangement was orchestrated through Leonard's uncle, Dennis Robertson. If that name sounds familiar, It should. Robertson has a long history of controversial demands and questionable negotiating tactics. Back in 2019, during Leonard's free agency, reports surfaced that he requested impermissible benefits like partial ownership stakes and private planes. The NBA investigated but ultimately said they found no evidence. Now, those same tactics appear to be back in play with this aspiration contract. Once Stephen A. Smith caught wind of Torres' bombshell report, he wasted no time unloading on Kawhi Leonard. On First Take on September 3, Smith unleashed years of pent-up frustration. He mocked Leonard's stiff New Balance commercials, pointing out that even in ads, he barely spoke. He described moments where kids would approach Leonard for autographs, and he'd sit quietly on the bench collecting $40 million while giving them nothing. Smith's voice rose as he said, "This man has spent years doing absolutely nothing." And he didn't stop there. Smith called Leonard a walking absentee ballot, arguing that when the report claimed Leonard had been paid millions for not showing up, it made perfect sense because that's exactly who Leonard has always been. Smith reminded viewers that Leonard has missed over 40% of his games since joining the Clippers, all while raking in more than $43 million per year. He pointed out that Leonard doesn't promote the franchise, doesn't engage with fans, and still expects superstar treatment. On his YouTube show, Smith went even further, reading through the contract clauses that allowed Leonard to decline work. "That sounds exactly like Kawhi Leonard," he snapped. "A no-show job for a no-show player. That's him." Smith didn't spare Uncle Dennis either. He said Robertson has always been quick to grab any possible perk, and this deal fit perfectly into that pattern. His most damning comment came when he accused Leonard of holding the Clippers hostage, demanding assets and perks while sitting out game after game. To Smith, this scandal was just the latest confirmation of Leonard's long history of getting paid for not working. The timing of Leonard's deal makes it look even worse. KL2 Aspire LLC was registered on November 22, 2021, just weeks after the Clippers' aspiration partnership was announced. The $28 million agreement officially began on April 1, 2022, with payments scheduled quarterly until March 2026. Bankruptcy filings later revealed that KL2 Aspire LLC was still owed $7 million, proving that partial payments had been made but the contract fell apart once aspiration collapsed. The moment Torres' report dropped, chaos erupted across the NBA. Social media exploded, and within hours, the league announced it was launching an official investigation. NBA spokesman Mike Bass released a statement, "We are aware of this morning's media report regarding the LA Clippers and are commencing an investigation." When the NBA moves that quickly, you know they view it as serious.